Good morning, good evening, or good night from wherever and whenever you are watching us. I am Cameron Scandal, that is Steven Schreffler, and we are The Sound. This is a monumental day in not just the sports world, but the world at large. This is the first episode and the first recording of The Sound as a YouTube channel and as a media personality at large. We are so excited for you to be here with us today. We are excited to be here with you today. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got game one of the NBA Finals. We got DeAndre Hopkins free agency, Aaron Rodgers at a new team, and so much more. So without further ado, we're just going to get right into it. Let's just get going.
No reason
Game
to waste
one
time.
of the NBA Finals. Denver defeating Miami 104-93. Taking a 1-0 lead early in the series. Jokic with 27, 10, and 14. Yet another playoff triple-double. Jamal Murray, 26, 6, and 10. Aaron Gordon with 16 and 6 rebounds. And Michael Porter Jr. with a double-double. 14 points, 13 rebounds. On the Miami end, 13, 7, and 7 for Jimmy Butler on 6 for 14 shooting. 26, 13, and 5 from the Heat's best player last night, Bam Adebayo. 19 points from Gabe Vincent, 5 for 10 from deep, not bad. Max Strus and Caleb Martin. 3 points combined and 1 for 11 combined from the three-point line. When Steve and I were recording our test episode, we have both predicted Denver in 6. As a Heat fan, I don't want to overreact to one game, but I'm just going to tell you what I've seen in game one and what this game looked like. There's a team in these playoffs that no one believed in from the start. Said that they weren't going to get far, we're going to lose early. They then had a round where they beat someone they were expected to beat. They had a round where the result was not as expected and maybe a little bit more dramatic than people would have thought. There was a team that maybe they're going to beat, maybe they're not, we'll see. What team, Steve, did I just describe to you?
I thought you were talking about the Heat.
I was talking about the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets, no one believed in. The Denver Nuggets were a team that we said for years now, can't get it done in the playoffs. They're a regular season team. So the thing that made the Heat special and what brought the Heat this far down the road in the playoffs was no one believes in us. We're going to outwork you. We're going to out-hustle you. And we need to get on the back of Jimmy Butler, and he will bring us to the promised land. None of that was apparent last night. None of it. I forgot Jimmy Butler was even on the Heat. If we're letting Bam Adebayo, who has been struggling offensively all postseason, be our number one option, and we are letting the Denver Nuggets outwork us and outwill us, it's a recipe for disaster. Denver was the far better team on the floor that night. The announcers getting excited that Miami had it within 10. They were not closer than that. Maybe they got to 8 or 7 within the final few minutes, but never were like, hey, come back, start, and we're a few shots away. Was never anything like that. The most pathetic first half I've seen from Miami as well in a game. If this continues, this is not going to be a trajectory where, like, I still believe Denver in 6, but if they keep playing like this, they're not going to have a chance to change that. Not to say that off this one game, I don't think they can win, but this was not a great sign for things to come in the future for this team.
You and me both said prior to the game, we were going to learn a lot about this series after game one. What was more surprising to me is that you have the number one defensive team in the NBA, a top 5 offensive team in the playoffs. The Heat they, like you said, it was like their star players just were non-existent at key moments of that game. Could that be youth? Not being able to rise to the moment, the pressure? Could it be coming off of a game 7 where they were up 3-0 against the Celtics, had to come back in game 7 to really bring them to the finals, and they're coming into Denver playing Mile High City, they could be tired, but it was just a really lackluster performance last night by the Heat, and I'm really hoping, like you said, that this isn't, going to be the tone of things.
Superstars are going to win you the NBA Finals. The Nuggets have the luxury of relying on Nikola Jokic, who has proven that he is an outstanding playoff performer just this postseason. Jamal Murray, who gone from injury a lot, maybe an underrated go-to guy in late moments of the playoffs. Not something we talk about a whole lot. If the Heat are going to rely on, we need Caleb Martin and Strus and Vincent to play better, or whoever, or Duncan Robinson, that's a whole separate issue. And now I agree that throughout these playoffs, that is who has been carrying them. They've had great depth, great production off the bench, and it's been a complete and collaborative team effort. This is the finals. This is up to win a championship. And superstars and defense win NBA championships. Jimmy Butler needs to take over. Jimmy Butler needs to be the one who is winning and projecting us to win these games, not the bench. And the Heat bench and everybody else has to play at the absolute highest possible level. There is very small room for error because of how their team is constructed and what they've been using to win, where Denver doesn't have that issue. Let Jokic cook, run the offense, facilitate, score, whatever. Jamal Murray, the same thing. Whereas the Heat, it's like we're going to have to win as a unit and all together. So if they can't do that in these next coming games, then it's going to be the same thing we saw tonight. Just an absolute devastation by Denver.
The Denver Nuggets went 16 of 20 from the free throw line, and the Miami Heat went 2 of 2. There was a moment last night. Under 3 minutes, the Heat had pulled it to 9, and they had gotten a defensive stop, and they were coming down the other end of the court. And I said out loud, Jimmy Butler needs to take this shot. You know who took that shot? Bam Adebayo. Why is Bam Adebayo taking a shot where your team is down 9? And it wasn't even like somebody passed him the ball in the paint and he turned around and did like a jump hook. No, he was at the 3-point line, dribbled in on Jokic, and took a falling away sideways fadeaway jump shot. The Heat were not in attack mode. They did not get themselves to the free throw line. But on the other side, Denver didn't really need to do anything that I deemed to be that impressive to win this game. Jokic having a 27-point triple-double, at this point, that's almost expected. And Jamal Murray having like 24, 25 points, that's a Jamal Murray night. So it wasn't like they even did anything that I looked at and said, oh, wow, that's why they won this game.
I want to say as a Heat fan that they will not let this happen twice, that Jimmy will come in with a better attitude and kind of like Game 7 when he played bad Game 6 in Boston. Game 7 said, I got to be better. This is on me. And he did do better. So hopefully we see that here in Game 2. Denver just looked too good.
Let me ask you a question, Cam.
Yeah.
Do you think after watching Game 1 that there is an ever apparent need for Tyler Hero's return very soon?
Anytime you score less than 100 points in an NBA game, I think you're in trouble. Now, Denver only scored over 100 by 4, but still, Miami had played only really well the last few minutes of the game. So I think the score is a little skewed to how they actually played the whole game. So they're missing Tyler Hero a lot. They're missing his offense. They are missing his on the court presence of we need someone who we can give the ball to and get a bucket, much like they can do with Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. or even Bruce Brown, who has been playing really well this postseason off the bench. So yeah, we need Tyler Hero. We need him back real bad. Denver beating Miami 104-93. It's a 1-0 lead. Game 2 will be on Sunday in Denver at 8:30. Moving on to our second block, we are going to talk about DeAndre Hopkins. Free agent, was released by the Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins actually, I don't know if you've seen this, Steve. He had mentioned that there are 5 quarterbacks he wants to play with. The number 1 was Josh Allen. Number 2 is Jalen Hurts. Number 3 was Patrick Mahomes. Number 4 was Lamar Jackson. Number 5 was Justin Herbert. He also has said that he's looking for 3 things specifically with the team that he will go to. Like there are 3 factors at play for who signs him. 1 is a quarterback that loves the game and can get people to buy into the system. A great defense with an excellent D-line, and he would like stable management because, which I understand Houston, when he left, that was part of the issue why he was gone. Though that being said, we're talking about this to also introduce an old and new segment. This is what we're going to call today's top 5, where we give you 5 players, 5 teams, whatever, based on the context of what we are ranking. So today's top 5 is going to be DeAndre Hopkins, what we think are his 5 best fits or landing spots, where we think he should go. So
roll it out.
Let's take a look at that here. Here we have our list. We got today's top 5. DeAndre Hopkins, 5 best landing spots, provided by yours truly, The Sound. Number 1, Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce just coming off a Super Bowl. They need receivers. Juju Smith leaving and going to the Patriots. They have a lot of young guys that are unproven, and maybe they want to develop. But you always, I think, need a true number 1 guy. They also got to come up with the money. So we will see what that comes to. Number 2, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags had a unexpected season.
I know Nick Wright talks all the time about the Jacksonville Jaguars being this top elite team with Trevor Lawrence getting ready to be a top 5 quarterback in the league. The Jacksonville Jaguars just acquired Calvin Ridley in the offseason. Yep. And if they add DeAndre Hopkins to that offense, that's a scary team.
Number 3, the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the Los Angeles Chargers are already an injury-ridden team. That was their main issue this past season. I looked up some numbers, Steve, for the last 2 seasons for Hopkins, 22 and 21. He has a total of 1,289 yards, 11 touchdowns in 19 games. In 2022, he was found guilty of using PEDs, performance-enhancing drugs, so he was suspended for that. And then in 2021, he had 3 separate injuries. He first had a rib injury, then had a hamstring injury, which persisted later on in the season, and then he tore his MCL. Already an injury or an injured player, maybe he'll fit the culture there of being injured. We'll see. So that's the only concern I'd have with him going to LA, already a hurt team. Their medical staff might not be the best. Number 4, the New England Patriots. I really like the fit with Belichick, and you've mentioned Bill O'Brien being there. They obviously have the defense and the front office. My concern then is literally just the person who's going to be responsible for getting Hopkins the football.
Yes.
Do we think Mac Jones is going to get over his sophomore slump? Maybe he doesn't, and we replace him with Billy Zappi, we as New England. I don't know.
As a Miami Dolphins fan, nothing would make me happier than to see DeAndre Hopkins go there and Mac Jones still not be able to get the job done.
And number 5, we have the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell is an excellent motivator. Jared Goff quietly was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC last season. The last 2 seasons they've had like the I forget what they're called, like the Flint, like fire starters, like in chemistry, you like squeeze the things and they like to start like the Bunsen burners. You know what I'm saying? I forget what they're called.
Yeah, Flint and Steel or something like that.
A flick and then a flick. And if they add DeAndre Hopkins and they add that third flick, it's gonna start a fire, and that's gonna be the spark they need to really get it going. I feel like Detroit has been right on the cusp of being a legitimate NFC threat.
You know, Dan Campbell is a guy who I've raved about for the last couple seasons. He's a player's coach. But I think what's more interesting about this list is DeAndre Hopkins also came out on Arizona radio and said that he is interested in playing for the Jaguars and the Chargers both. On his contract still, he's taking a $30 million cap hit next year to wherever he goes.
Mm-hmm.
Does DeAndre Hopkins, is he in this for the legacy or is he in this for the money?
It's reported he's told people that he's looking more for money than a ring.
I wish that DeAndre Hopkins would look at a team like the Chiefs and recognize, hey, look, if I make $20 million a year, I still have probably the best odds of winning a Super Bowl.
And they have a good defense, a great front office, a great coach, all the things he's looking for. I just don't know if they can get it done as far as the paycheck. That is today's top 5. DeAndre Hopkins, best teams, best landing spots. Kansas City Chiefs, Jacksonville Jaguars, the LA Chargers, the New England Patriots, and the Detroit Lions. Moving on to our next segment. This is something that is brand new to this show. We're really excited for it, and it is a segment we like to call Soundbite, where we react to different clips of people saying things in a post-game interview, at a practice, maybe a podcast interview, whatever it may be. Someone says something that we're like, hey, let's take a listen, give our thoughts. And our soundbite for today, Adam Silver speaking before Game 1 of the finals about Ja Morant and what the further disciplinary actions will be against him for his gun violence or gun wielding videos. If you haven't seen that or heard anything about that, just Google Ja Morant. First thing that pops up, guaranteed. Let's take a listen to see what NBA Commissioner Adam Silver had to say.
We look at both the history of prior acts, but then we look at the individual player's history as well, and the seriousness, of course, of the conduct. So those are all things that get factored. We've uncovered a fair amount of additional information. I think since I was still asked about the situation, we probably could have brought it to a head now, but we made the decision, and I believe the Players Association agrees with us, that it would be unfair to these players and these teams in the middle of the series to announce the results of that investigation. It seemed better to park that at the moment, at least any public announcement. And my sense now is that shortly after the conclusion of the finals, we will announce the outcome of that investigation.
So there you have it. Adam Silver discussing the pending doom of Ja Morant and how they're going to take action and when. Steve, your just overall thoughts on what Adam Silver had to say.
Adam Silver right there just alluded to a lot of things very subtly. I had an opportunity to read his entire interview that he gave at this press conference yesterday, and there were two sentences that Adam Silver, actually, I guess one sentence that Adam Silver said that really drove the message and the impact of what he said to me. We do not yet know what will change Ja Morant's behavior. With the additional information that the league claims that they just found, and also with that comment, Ja Morant, his behavior seems to have been worse than what the NBA originally anticipated. And whatever this new information is that they have found through whatever investigation process they went through must be so significant that Adam Silver and the NBA have no idea if whatever punishment they're about to hand down is going to change his behavior. This punishment is about to be severe. This punishment is about to be impactful. And it's going to be used to make a statement, not just to Ja Morant, but also the rest of the league. There's even a potential that there were more serious things that happened in the meantime, or that they found out about since the original statement was made by Adam Silver on draft night. I am not excited or happy about this if I'm Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies.
Adam Silver, he is very smart and very specific with his word choice. The words and verbiage he used is what you just said. It sounds like something worse has happened or they found something else. They are gearing up for delivering a worse punishment than we think too. A lot of people have been saying he did nothing illegal. He's young, made a mistake. We know that it's just more than him flashing a gun on IG Live. It's getting in trouble with assaulting a minor. It's posing as a thug gang member and threatening people at stores. And it is driving by with guns and laser pointers coming out of the car. I think Ja Morant ultimately got lucky with when all this went down. The most important thing I think he said is that we are only not taking action and disciplining now because of the finals and for respect of the other players involved. He kept bringing up statements that made you think of how bad Ja Morant is and how wrong his actions have been deemed. There wasn't anything in there about like, we're working with him, he's gotten better, he's a good kid at heart. Like there was none of that. I think within a week of the finals ending, it's not going to be a good time for Ja Morant. Something's going to happen quick.
You are who you surround yourself with. And if this was a one-time thing, if this was a, okay, Ja Morant got caught up in the moment, brandishing a weapon on IG Live, both times that this has happened, I am fairly sure it was not on Ja Morant's Instagram Live. It was on a friend of his.
Yeah,
and
the same friend.
Exactly, the same friend. The same friends who looked at Ja Morant, saw him have a weapon in his hands, and turned the camera towards him. Ja Morant, if you are listening, I don't know who you are surrounding yourself with, but you are very, very quickly trying to get your way out of the NBA. And I've never seen somebody try harder to remove themselves from superstardom than you have.
That was today's soundbite. I thought it went well for the first time. I thought we did great. One final thing we're going to talk about today. It is our closing subject for today, something that we're a little bit late on, but we weren't around to talk about it, so we're going to talk about it now. Aaron Rodgers going to the New York Jets. I'm very perplexed on why people feel that bringing in Aaron Rodgers is going to all of a sudden bolster this Jets team to a place that they were nowhere near sniffing last year. Now, I understand that a lot of that had to do with Zach Wilson and company and Joe Flacco, all that stuff. But it's not like Aaron Rodgers just came off a really good MVP season like he did 2 years ago. It is not like Aaron Rodgers has the same ability to go whole seasons without making giant mistakes. And even his attitude and his locker room presence has significantly changed in how the league views him. It probably will be a playoff team, but I mean, going deep, I just don't see it.
In the last 10 seasons, have the New York Jets gone out and gotten a young, promising quarterback, or have they gone out and gotten fading veterans to try and fix their solution? Joe Flacco, Brett Favre, Chad Pennington.
Yeah.
History says that this move doesn't work, but history also shows that Aaron Rodgers, regardless of where he's been at the Packers, but once the playoffs hit, it doesn't matter if Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers. The same guy who hasn't been able to get it done in the playoffs. There are some guys who we just know when the playoffs hit, that person just disappears or becomes a shell of themselves. So, are the New York Jets a playoff team with Aaron Rodgers? Probably. First or second round exit. Aaron Rodgers has proven that when the playoffs hit, and he went to the AFC, who we've deemed to be a harder conference. So you think you're going to go to the AFC, harder playoff conference, and take your not being able to play well in the playoff self and play well in the playoffs there? It doesn't make sense to me.
We both said we're just not seeing what people are seeing. So when the season starts, we're either gonna have vindication or we're gonna look like idiots.
I'm not saying he's not going to have a successful career on the Jets. I hope he does. But what I do know is what my eyes have shown me. And that's that when the playoffs come and when it matters, Aaron Rodgers is not there.
Because the sound doesn't go off of feelings. They don't go off of emotions. They don't go off of heart. They go off of facts, evidence, statistics, and just the greater sports knowledge that we possess. With that being said, that's going to do it for us today. This concludes the first ever episode of The Sound. I thought it went great. I hope you all enjoyed watching or listening wherever and whenever you are watching or listening. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, like this video for more, and follow our Instagram page that is @thesound_YT. Make sure you give that a follow. Link should also be in our bio. So we'll have a video at least by Monday for reacting to Game 2. We're going to try to have a video out for before Game 2, just to put out some more content. We'll see how that works out. We are also going to have an intro video done at some point. Tell you guys a little bit about ourselves, where we came from, how we got our start, why we're doing this, all those things. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time. All right. Stay safe. Have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you later.
Now listen to the sound. I listen to the sound.